So what's up, trade crew? Welcome back to HVAC R&D, hosted by Rhydon Atzenhoffer. It's been a hot minute since we had a good talk about trades marketing, so let's get it, y'all. From the beginning of this show, I've always said that the trades industry is built on great people with great stories, and I want the trade crew to hear yours. Whether you're in the field turning a wrench or running duct, building a trades empire from your office, working the distribution counter, grinding a sales territory, repping or working for a manufacturer, or anywhere in between, HVAC R&D is the show about the power of conversation, collaboration over competition, and sharing real conversations from every corner of the trades community. And if you've got a story to tell, then I've got a microphone ready for you. So when you're ready, go check out the links to the HVAC R&D Podcast Questionnaire. They're on all social media channels and on the website, and get in touch with me about joining an episode of the show. If this is your first time listening, thank you so much for sharing some time with me. If you're coming back show after show, thank you for helping me continue to make this dream of highlighting our trades a reality. Please make sure to smash the like and subscribe buttons on any and all streaming and social platforms where you follow the show, and please share with your friends and trade crew. If you aren't following the show, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at hvac.rnd, and on LinkedIn, Facebook, and TradeHounds as the HVAC R&D Podcast. Please make sure to go check out hvacrnd.com and visit the swag shop for some cool merch and some Cajun Joe's Bayou Spice, and then check out the vendor hub for discounts on BetterHelp, Chirp, Service Titan, and my newest partner, SkillCat. So tonight, trade crew, we're diving into the world of marketing for the trades with someone who knows it inside and out. My guest is Amber Gaige, a third-generation entrepreneur, certified story brand guide, and marketing strategist with over 15 years of experience helping home service businesses attract better leads and grow without the guesswork. She's also the author of the Far Beyond Marketing Guidebook and the creator of the 4 C's of Effective Marketing. Amber, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yes. So we started trying to put this on the books, 2-3 months ago, I think? Somewhere around there.
So. Yeah, there's been a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth. Glad we're finally getting to it. I love having a good marketing talk at least once or twice a year on here for people and getting different perspectives. So I'm excited for this one. It also typically helps me because it's always nice to get a little trade secret here and there of how I can make the podcast a bit better too. Before we dive fully into marketing, what's been going on with you? What's new in your world?
Oh man, well, I'm a mom of a busy 8-year-old, so that usually consists of Pokemon, Minecraft, Legos, and every other exciting thing in the world. But life is good. We're very busy over here at Far Beyond Marketing. I'm a third-generation entrepreneur and a plumber's daughter, so I spend a lot of time in and out of plumbing companies, HVAC companies, roofing companies, and with summer just around the corner here in Dallas, we have a lot of people that are gearing up to get a lot of work done. So, between playing Minecraft and Legos and trying to help our clients get ready for busy season, we're rolling and going.
Now, you can get me on a Lego kick all evening, so we might have to steer clear of that one. Otherwise, we'll both thought we stepped on a Lego, and that's all anyone will hear in this show.
Oh, yeah, that's painful.
Son is a Pokemon fan. I have to say, I had my name before I was a Pokemon. Just throwing that out there.
You did? You're OG like that?
I am OG. Rhydon was my name before it was a little Triceratops in Pokemon.
Okay, well,
just saying.
Maybe you should get a little something for that. You should talk to them about that.
I should. I'll probably never see it.
Yeah, good luck.
Do you know a good Pokemon lawyer? Because I don't.
A good Pokemon lawyer? I mean, it's fictional, right? So I don't really know. Yeah. I mean, they're probably going to morph into something, right?
That's true. So you've got an 8-year-old. I know you also like to hunt. What do you like to hunt?
I do. Deer and turkey mainly. I got a turkey last fall. I was up in the deer blind, and he was up there trying to get some corn, and all I had was my 7mm 08. because I was hunting for a deer. But no deer had come out. And so he just kind of walked right out, and I shot him at 120 yards in the neck, and he's pretty good.
120 yards for a turkey. That's pretty dead eye, Miss Amber.
Yeah, with my rifle. So you don't have time for bird shot. When you're in the blind, you just got to do what you got to do,
That's true. I walked a job a couple of weeks ago for this massive custom house. I had another buddy of mine with me that was my branch manager, and when we got to the back of this house, when we stood still and we looked in the back, we're like, how did neither one of us notice this? And there's like 6 turkeys just walking right next to the house, but they're moving just slow enough in the brush that they were camouflaged really well. And it was 1 hen and 5 jakes.
Smart girl.
Kept her options open.
Absolutely. As most women should. I'm just saying. I mean, if you got it, want it.
That's right. So what do you enjoy doing to unwind after work when you're not, dead eyeing turkeys from 120 yards or playing Legos with your kid?
Playing Legos with my son. I'm an avid reader. I love to listen to audiobooks. I also love to spend time with friends. As an entrepreneur, I'm always up to be educated in one way or another. So at any point in time, I've probably got 2 to 4 audiobooks going on at a time. I'm in Dallas. I'm in Texas. 7th generation Collin County resident. So I love to dance and boot scoot when I can. But yeah, most of the time I'll be at home with my 8-year-old reading some kind of book, learning something new. Just finished writing my book last year. So my commitment to myself was not writing any other books in 2025 because the last book was a labor of love. So I'm just going to take the year to read books and not write any this year.
Well, I think that's a very important topic when you talk about being a creative person. Is you can push it too hard. You can try too hard. Sometimes you have to pull yourself away from it in order to just let it cook, if it makes sense.
For sure. Yeah.
And then you can come back to it, and it's different because if you step away from it just long enough, that you get a completely different perspective on what you're doing, and it always seems to kind of help stimulate it growing into something else.
Yeah. Absolutely. So true. And, you and I were talking about before the show too, and I have a background as a musician. So there's always some kind of music going on in my house. I actually sang opera for many years in Europe. So much to my son's chagrin, there's usually some kind of Italian, French, or German opera going on in the background of our house. He would much rather listen to AC/DC. So, we compromise a lot.
What was your, I guess, primary performance? Like, did you have a certain opera you performed that you enjoyed the most?
I probably liked Magic Flute because I like to sing Queen of the Night, which was a really high aria. It's a high F above high C. So that was a really challenging, fun role. I also sang La Noce de Figaro, which was a saucy little chambermaid role. So, anything fun, anything interactive, we had a good time. But that was years ago. Oh my goodness, that was a whole
Amber the saucy chambermaid. Okay, noted.
That's appropriate back then.
You've obviously got some really deep roots in entrepreneurship. Was running your own business always the plan, or did you just kind of become something that you thought would be something else, and here's where you landed?
Yeah, no, heck no. I mean, I think when you grow up in family business, and as I said, I'm a 3rd generation entrepreneur. When you grow up as a child riding around your dad's backhoe and playing King of the Hill on dirt piles, you just kind of decide that may not be the route that you want to go. I mean, I was answering the phone for my dad's construction company when I was 8 years old. So I thought, for sure I was going to sing and do music and do that for the rest of my life. The problem is they don't tell you that you don't make much money doing that.
No, you don't.
You really don't. And so when it was time to actually settle down and grow up a little bit, that's when I went back and worked in the family businesses. And by that point in time, my family had a pest control company, a roofing company, an HVAC company, and a plumbing company. So I was very privileged to have a background in family business and know operations and marketing and have had my fingers in it from, all the summers that you're home working in the business too, because that's what you do. And then simultaneous to that, my dad called me into his office one day and he said, "Hey, I think it's about time we start a marketing company and you're going to run it." Because these are these official board meetings that all family companies have, it's just kind of done by dictation. And I went, "Okay," because I'm not doing enough around here, but sure, why not? And that kind of backfired on him a little bit because I ended up starting that business in 2013, scaling it and selling it to private equity in 2018. So that was the time that I exited family business and went and played on a national level and learned how to really partner with national brands and bring tactical marketing to a national level that then was juxtaposed into the smaller guys. So I got to work with national franchises. I got to work with national licensing groups and really help these big brands to understand what it was like on a local level. Because while national branding is great, if it doesn't translate down into revenue on a local level, then you're just spinning the wheels. Yeah. So that was my background and my foray into corporate America and private equity. From there, I went on to be a CMO and a CIO for a construction company based out of Wisconsin, where I had to come up with a sales strategy for 90 subsidiaries in 10 different states. I was traveling a lot. And what I realized was that as a consummate Texas woman, freedom is what was more important to me than money. And I really didn't like making other people wealthy and having other people tell me how often I needed to be on an airplane. I don't take orders well. It's just not really part of my redheaded DNA. So that's when I decided, nope, it's time to come home. It's time to serve my fellow entrepreneurs. And it's time to bring the experience that I was really blessed to have into the hands of fellow entrepreneurs and men and women who were just trying to fulfill their own version of the American dream. And that's when I relaunched my company, Far Beyond Marketing, and wrote my international best-selling book.
Well, all right, everyone. Thanks for joining the show. It's been a great. No, just kidding. So, Amber, in a nutshell, let's break it down a little bit. So, Dad got you into marketing. You scale the business, you grow it, you go on the national scene. Now you're coming back to start your own. Aside from the fact that you grew up in home services businesses, what else was truly why you wanted to stay in that kind of focus for building a new marketing company?
Well, first and foremost, I think some of the home services businesses and the blue collar people are salt of the earth, best people on the base of the earth. And those are my people because that's who I was raised around. And then secondly, I feel like unfortunately, a lot of those individuals don't really know what questions to ask when it comes to marketing. So they don't know what marketing works and what marketing doesn't. And then thirdly, they get taken advantage of far too often because people promise them marketing that's going to work. But when they do that, they fail to recognize the real nuances that are associated with home services and the trades. You cannot market a trade company the same way you will a restaurant. By the way, I've got clients in both.
Nope, no, you can't.
So I wanted to serve my people, and I wanted to help my people really fulfill their goals and feel less frustrated about marketing and to have a hope and a future and to know that marketing didn't have to be overwhelming or scary or expensive and that we could actually help them to grow their businesses and therefore to achieve their dreams.
So you're a certified story brand guide, which that's honestly something I've not heard of until I was digging through your information. Can you kind of walk us through what that really means in tradespeople terms, and how has that helped you with your approach to salt of the earth and blue collar people? Is it more of kind of the same thing? You're able to put it on the board and show us, or what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so story brand is a concept that was developed by a visionary by the name of Donald Miller. And Don wrote the book Blue Like Jazz, and then he also wrote Story Branding Your Business. And what he found was, and we already knew this from all the years in Sunday school, but story is a sense-making device. When you tell a story, you draw people in and they listen to you. So what if we could talk about our businesses in such a way that people listened and understood that we were actually telling a story about the services and products that we offer that makes their lives better. So one of the cardinal sins of marketing is that people talk about themselves too much. And what we should really be doing is talking about the products and services that solve the problems for our clients. Because at the end of the day, when people know that you care, then they're more likely to do business with you. So Story Brand puts a 7-part framework into the hands of entrepreneurs so that they can talk about their business in a way that people will shut up and listen.
What would you say is the biggest misconception that contractors and service businesses have about marketing, especially when it comes to, as you just said, a lot of times we talk about ourselves way too much as opposed to the solutions we provide?
I think there's a couple misconceptions. Number one, that if you put a sign on the truck, your phone's going to ring. It's not the way that's going to work. And number two, that everybody needs to be running Google ads. I tell my clients a lot of the time, you're not ready for Google ads, darling. We don't want to run Google ads. When you're starting up a brand, people are actually buying into you as a brand. So you need to get out there and do guerrilla warfare marketing. You need to be kissing babies and shaking hands and building a brand of trust and reliability in your community. And then as you're able to add trucks on the road and your company scales, then you can diversify into other systematic marketing that will work for you while you sleep. But there is definitely a stepping stone to marketing that should be carefully monitored when you're growing your business.
What do you think are some of the key similarities that you've seen between those that successfully take on that ability and really take to heart the guerrilla marketing part of it, which I love guerrilla marketing. It was one of my favorite topics when I was going to school for entrepreneurship. It still remains one of my favorite topics because in outside sales for distribution, we have to be our own guerrilla marketers because that's the only way we build a reputation in a market. So, what are some things that you see that helps them be successful, and what are the things that you're seeing be, kind of the wrong way to take it?
Well, the wrong way to take it is to throw it up against the wall and see if it sticks. If you just start throwing random acts of marketing out there, thinking that you're going to get something for your money, you're wasting your time. Marketing should be done systematically, and it should be done methodically. So the people that do marketing well are the ones that start out with a plan, right? I mean, we are a military family, and my daddy always said, never get into a situation you don't know how you're going to get out of. So it's the same way with your marketing. You need to be able to go into it with a set plan, a set of objectives, know exactly what you're hoping to get out of it, plan it out, and then give it time to work. I like to tell people that marketing is like a 7-layer cake. You need to get that fork in there and get all the bites at once. And that means you can't just randomly do one or two things. You need to think about the layers of marketing your company, from social media to SEO to your website development. Make sure that it's very intentional, that you're giving it a chance to work. And then for the love of all that's holy, make sure that any marketing that you hire out is work for hire, because too many times we see people taking advantage of where they fork over control of some of their most valuable marketing assets and they never get it back.
I've seen it happen time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that being said, what's your take on traditional advertising versus digital marketing? Obviously, I do believe you think trade businesses need both, but how do you tailor which of both styles you use when you're helping a customer develop a marketing plan?
So I meet with every customer one-on-one for about an hour before we ever agree to take on their marketing. We want to know where the business is in terms of their life cycle. We want to understand what the unique goals and purposes are for the marketing. And we need to understand their service area and any limitations to their customer demographic. So I believe there should be a blend between traditional marketing and digital marketing. And it really depends on what those company goals look like for you to know what mix to recommend.
Which in that kind of plays into the thought of, how do you approach a smaller family-run business versus larger multi-location companies? Obviously both of those companies are going to have completely different goals and completely different ideas of what they think should or shouldn't work for them. So,
Right.
The hour at the table first kind of helps set that up for you. Do you have are there any kind of strategies that you would use with both of those people kind of out of the gate that are almost always successful?
Well, I think everyone needs a decent website whether it's robust or not, it needs to pass the grunt test, and people should be able to understand who you are, what you do, and what they get out of doing business with you in 4 seconds or less. So it's important to have an online presence. Everybody lives their lives on their cell phone, so just go ahead and get yourself a decent website. The other thing is joining a chamber of commerce, because people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So there needs to be a local presence in your marketplace. And if you're not the person that wants to shake hands and kiss babies, find someone in your family that is. And then the other thing is that you need a Google business profile, because Google is now placing more focus on a Google business profile for the maps listing than they really are for even a big website. So again, boots on the ground, shaking hands, and making sure that you have at least a basic, clean online digital presence is important.
When it comes to ductwork, durability and performance matter. That's why HVAC pros turn to JPL FHP 25. With its tri-laminate airtight core and reinforced vapor barrier, this high-pressure duct keeps air moving even in tough conditions. Operating smoothly from -20 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, it's as tough as the jobs you face. It's UL Class 1 listed, Green Guard certified, and formaldehyde-free. This isn't just ductwork, it's peace of mind. Built to meet industry standards and exceed expectations. Because if your ductwork can't take the heat, get it out of the system. JPL FHP 25, flexible, durable, and built for the long haul. Trust your installs to the name that's been delivering quality since 1961. JPL. And now, back to the show. So we'll use that discussion. We'll roll into the 4 C's of effective marketing and growth strategies, which you created. Mm-hmm. Can you break those down for us? We'll go one at a time, and then can you also kind of help us understand what really inspired you to build that list? Obviously, you're a marketing company. You're doing it to help people grow their businesses. But where did your thought process for this come from, and how did you get it from, A, B, C to D to get it in front of your customers?
Sure. Well, I mean, as you can tell, I have no shortage of words. I like to talk a lot. So
rule number 1, stop talking about just kidding.
Right. Hey, you asked. Isn't that fair game, though? I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true.
I needed to find a system that would empower my team to serve our clients well again and again and again. And I found that we kept going back to the same process when we were working with clients. Because the foundational aspect of the 4 C's of marketing is, number 1, clear copy. How to talk about your business so that people will shut up and listen. So that goes back to that story branding concept. How can we help you to create a 7-part framework so that when you talk about your business, people understand who you are, the benefit of working with you, and what's in it for them. And that comes with a clear call to action and a 3-step plan on how to do business with your company. So that's the first C. Can we tell you about the second one?
Absolutely. That's what we're here for, remember? The floor is yours. Have at it.
I thought we were talking about turkeys and deer. So, I want to run it.
It's almost dinner time here.
There you go. The second C is consistent branding. Please resist the urge to clip art. And yes, I know I'm old by saying clip art, but to clip art together your logo. Your logo should be professional. It should have a brand standard, and it should be consistently placed systematically and strategically all around where you want to do business. Consistent branding. I mean, we're showing that people have to encounter a brand over 43 times online before they will ever make a buying decision. 43 times. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah. So your brand consistently displayed in front of your target audience is hugely important. So that's the second C, is making sure that you've got that going on. The third C is, who the heck is my target audience? So if you are trying to serve grandmas and grandpas in their home by helping them maintain these older homes they've been in for a long time, then I really don't think you need to be serving ads on TikTok, because guess what? That's not where they're at. They're at Louis. So knowing who your customer demographic is and where to place your branding is hugely important. And the funny thing is, So oftentimes, business owners will come to us and they say, oh, I know my target audience is this kind of person. And I'll say, okay, great. Let's pull your QuickBooks file or your Service Titan file or whatever it is, and let's look at the top generating revenue SKUs that you've got. And by doing a reverse append on their database and looking at the items that are actually making them money, they are shocked to see that their target audience is not exactly who they thought they were targeting.
Understandable. I even see stuff like that at times, when I was first working to help build this show.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to have the Canadian listenership that the show now has.
Oh, wow.
It's like I didn't know that that's even who I was marketing that stuff to or where it was going, but you never know. So it's been interesting to see the different regions around the world that I also get listenership from time to time too. It's funny.
Well, they probably just think that our Southern accents are kind of funny. That's what I would assume. I don't know.
Maybe. We could bring out some more twang if we got to. I mean, I can be a real redneck from the mountains if we got to, but
Absolutely.
I don't always have to.
Hey, I've got family in Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Texas. We can talk squirrel dumplings and anything else you want to talk about.
Well, see, I'm half coon ass and half mountain redneck, so I'm in trouble either way.
Oh, well, we're probably somehow related.
Yeah, we might be. My dad was born and raised in New Orleans.
Oh, well, there you go. I was born in Lafayette. I tell people we don't have a family tree. We got a hedge.
There you go.
The fourth and final C is channel management. If you have a turn 'em and burn 'em approach in your business, you're not going to stay in business long. And everybody knows it's a lot less expensive to upsell a current client than to go mine for a new one. So making sure that your marketing has a sales funnel that is repeatable and that you have calls to action and upselling opportunities in your product line that you can upsell your current clients to is hugely important. So there you go, my friend. That's the 4 C's of effective marketing in a nutshell.
So what do you think are some of their biggest pitfalls that trade businesses fall into? Like out of the 4 C's, which of the 4 do you see being the hardest for customers to figure out or understand when they're first getting onboarded with you?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a cop-out statement to say all of them, isn't it? But, all of them.
A little bit.
I would say that very few companies take the time to really concentrate on their company message. Why do I need an elevator speech when I got trucks on the road? Well, because if it works for Gillette and Dove and the Dollar Shave Club, and you really want to sell your company someday, then understanding the power of brand and the power of messaging and the impact that has on your clients is hugely important. So I'd say the ones that are most undervalued is probably getting that company message dialed in.
I can see that. And I know from my own experience working, doing things with my dad's business, we had a lot of issues with having clear messages, clear understanding when I first started to help manage some of the marketing and stuff for him when I was in college, because he'd never had any of it before. Everything was, small town, word of mouth, kissing babies, quite literally. But as we started, we get into this modern digital age, we found that he had to have some kind of web-based footprint because, all the people that grew up in the mountains knew who he was, but everybody that was moving to him had no clue or how to find him.
Right.
So we had to figure out how to reach a whole different group of people because that was what was going to keep the business going over time.
And that's half the battle, right? Is that you're going to have that core group of clients who know you and love you, but the landscape all over the U.S. is changing. And if you want to stay top of mind awareness, you've got to be able to stay relevant and searchable and findable. So yeah, you gotta work with the times, people.
Well, it's that, and it's the finger on the pulse of the market you're in.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only way I really know how to term it, even from the distribution perspective where I'm in wholesale and distribution. If I have a complete disconnect of understanding what my customer is going through and what my competitors are doing to try to steal said customer and so on and so forth, then I'm not keeping up with what's going to happen and I'm going to get passed real quick too.
Right. It's absolutely true.
You talked about when we were speaking earlier, your labor of love in writing your book last year. So, what truly inspired you to write the Far Beyond Marketing Guidebook?
Well, I really got tired of watching people I love get taken advantage of by marketing that didn't work. and by being duped by bad marketing. And I figured that if they had so much on their plate that they were so busy running their businesses that they did not have time to take a course on marketing or, or learn all the things that there were to run their own digital ads. So I wanted to provide a back pocket guidebook that was easily digestible, that any busy business owner could take with them into a meeting. It even has an appendix in the back where it defines basic marketing terms like SEO, ROI, ROAS, anything that they needed to know. And they could have that with them in a meeting and feel empowered to make good decisions and to have a roadmap about what they needed to do fundamentally to grow their business.
One of the biggest misconceptions is that everybody understands all the marketing terms when they go to have this discussion. And one thing that I've noticed is over the years of being in distribution, there's always a dealer program from every big brand that's, whatever the distributor is using it. And they've got these canned marketing campaigns, and customers will think, I'm probably going to put myself in hot water with all these big brands, but customers will think that if they just use the marketing toolkit that's part of their dealer program, it's going to solve all their marketing issues. But in most cases, it doesn't teach them anything.
Right.
There's no one that they're truly interacting with, vice versa, to really build something specific to their company. It just becomes something that, you're going to get access to these so many things a week or so many things a month, and you can use them for your business. But all it's doing is actually spreading the brand of product they're moving, but it's not helping the contractor build their company brand. And if there's anything I've learned is that if you want someone to be successful with you as a distributor partner that's your contractor and customer, is you have to get them to understand how to build their brand even more so than the one they're buying from you. Sorry, all of my manufacturer friends. But in order for them to sell what you're manufacturing better, their brand has to be better.
Yes, it's absolutely true. And it's a really similar concept in the franchising world too, where you are actually given a great brand toolkit of well-known logos and colors and maybe some pre-done postcards and things like that. But without the ability or know-how to execute on a local level, you still are going to struggle with local marketing.
I think a lot of businesses also, they struggle with the scaling of their marketing and how they make it grow over time. So kind of what's the key to help them not get trapped in the day-to-day grind of it, but understand how to spread their branding and their marketing thought beyond just, we're going to post this ad and it's going to work.
Yeah. Well, I do talk about different marketing budget levels in the book, and as the company scales, what percentage of gross annual revenue you should put towards your marketing. So that's a big component of it. Making sure that you also have a diversified plan so that you're not putting all your marketing in one basket. I've got, unfortunately, some clients that came to us from other agencies, and all they did for marketing was to put them in Google local search ads. And then when Google had an algorithm reset, they lost all their Google local search ads because they had to re-verify their Google business profile. So you need to make sure that you have a well-diversified marketing plan so that if one goes down, you can tweak it and still have inbound leads coming through.
Well, and also, that the new tools and new technology can also kind of be overwhelming and bog them down. There's certain tools that you say, this is what you need to use and understand first before we scale you. And that's kind of how you help teach them to get in the mindset of scaling that business. And I'm assuming that would be part of their process of, this is your budget and this isn't your budget. But, where do you start? Like, if you had to say, these are the 3 tools that you should start with right now, no matter who it is, what's the main 3 that you would base the beginning of you working with them on?
Sure. Yeah, we actually do have a marketing checklist that we take people through that helps them to develop some of the basics that they need to have. One is a website. The other is a lead generating tool we call a lead magnet, something that is going to allow them to collect email addresses from people who may not be ready to do business with them immediately. The other thing we talk about is a nice email campaign that they can send out on their behalf. The other is a strong call to action. Call tracking numbers are still important. A CRM is very important. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, a good Google business profile so that they are searchable online. Those are 7 major components that we like to look for and make sure that companies have in place.
Why do you think branding is really so overlooked? Is it just think, I've got my license, I can go to work and I'm going to be fine? And they think that having the skills is what's going to provide all of it? Or do you think there's something else with how branding gets so overlooked?
I think that people, I don't know how much it's overlooked, but I think that they put too much stock in branding. I think there's a very much important factor to have branding as well as tactics. And consistent branding is kind of the wind in the sails. If you have good brand awareness in your market, then your marketing tactics will work much more effectively. But I think on the opposite side, if you never brand and you only look at tactics, then you're only going to go so far because your brand is not established and well known. So you do need both. And I think branding tends to be something that people don't see as much value in, unfortunately, because it's less tangible in their eyes.
I can understand that. And how does, with thinking about things that they don't see as so tangible, how do you truly measure whether the marketing strategy is actually working? Besides the fact that, yes, the business is growing, but how do you really hone in on which one is doing the most, and how do you pivot away from the ones that aren't?
Well, that all comes down to tracking. I mean, every single one of our clients has a dashboard where they see all the campaigns that are running, and they can track and measure the return on investment. So as long as you have your marketing dollars tracked on a per campaign or a tactical level, then you should be able to review every month your 90-day plan and see what's delivering and what's not. But the buying journey, the consumer journey has changed so much, it's very difficult to get a last click or a last call idea. Consumers are interacting more and more with multiple aspects of marketing. And just because they say that they saw you on Google doesn't mean that that is necessarily what's responsible for driving that inbound phone call. They might have seen your truck and other things too.
I didn't mean to talk over you, but that's when you brought that up, I said that's 100% correct, because just because they got your number from Google doesn't mean that's where they saw you the first time.
Exactly.
Can you share a success story or two of a trade business that you've started with that had no marketing plan or thought they had a marketing plan, and then you transformed, how they went to market and saw some major results?
Sure. We have a precious HVAC company here near us, and he had marketing tactics, and he didn't really have a marketing plan, so he wasn't really sure why he was losing market share. And then we dug in there and we found that his SEO had been abandoned, and his Google business profile had not been optimized, and his PPC campaigns are running all kinds of keywords that had nothing to do with the products or services that he offered. So we went in there and we cleaned it up and we optimized it, and we got him busy. And we actually were able to decrease his marketing spend. And get him better results.
I hope everybody actually heard that. The marketing lady helped someone not spend as much money on marketing. That's a key trait right there, people. That means she's honest about what she does.
Well, thank you. We try to be.
So, a little bit of fun on this show. I typically bring up a crawl space confession if I've got a trades person that's in the field on here. You grew up in the field. I won't make you go back to those, but have you had any kind of funny or wild marketing mishaps while maybe you're putting together an ad with somebody and something crazy happened while you're filming an ad, or anything funny like that?
Oh, goodness. Well, I've had a few of them. So I had a lady from California ask me to market her corset company. That was a little odd. She wanted to sell corsets to people. It was an interesting campaign. We were talking about finding keywords, so I won't go into too many details there. I've also had a situation where I was helping a wildlife rehab center with their marketing, and they insisted that I had to have a pigeon ride around on my head while I was touring the facility. So I did. I mean, the bird was very nice, and I got out of there without any poop on my scalp. But yeah, that was a different client request. I had to walk around with a bird on my head.
I mean, I've heard of carrier pigeons, but not people that had to carry the pigeon.
I literally had to carry the pigeon on my head.
Okay, that's a great one. That's definitely one I've not heard. Now I've had plenty of pigeons on my shoulders and everywhere else, but I've not had to walk one around in the wildlife preserve. That's a new one.
Yeah. Well, apparently, this one had like PTSD and was like rehabbed or something. So he demanded to be on top of the head.
That is hilarious. But see, you actually helped nature. You were nurturing. You were. You're always about nurture as you're nurturing people's marketing campaigns.
Oh, yes.
This just brought the two together in one beautiful relationship.
Yes, it did. And I washed my hair that night thoroughly.
Turn up the heat in your kitchen, Trade Crew, using Cajun Joe's Bayou Spice, the original blend that brings the bold, authentic flavors of the Bayou straight to your table. Perfect for grilling, sauteing, low country boiling, or seasoning any dish, Cajun Joe's adds the perfect kick of heat and spice. Whether it's seafood, chicken, gator, beef, pork, veggies, or more, you'll love how this blend transforms your meals. Ready to take your cooking to the next level? Grab your jar today in the HVAC R&D swag shop. Just visit hvacrnd.com and spice up your life with Cajun Joe's Bayou Spice. And now, back to the show. So, another thing that I'd love to talk about on the show is community and collaboration and giving back. We've hammered home some marketing topics for a little bit, and I don't want people to stop listening and understanding. I want them to come back to you later, and hopefully you can help them build their business in a way that they've not thought of before. Some of the stuff that you emphasize, just like I do, is community and collaboration over competition. A lot of it is how can tradespeople shift their mindset from only seeing one another as a competitor, but find ways to work together to be allies.
When I was doing marketing for our family's plumbing company, there were a couple of other sister brands that fell underneath our franchisor. So what we did was we created a referral partnership with a HVAC company, a plumbing company, and an electrical service company. And I printed out what ended up looking like credit cards. And those credit cards had a fake barcode on the back and a 1-800 number that would route to any of the three businesses that people could call. And then in that way, we could refer work to one another and then share some kickbacks for referrals among the technicians. And we basically tripled our business without having to open additional branches underneath one or the other.
And see, and that's using each other's trade to its best ability, as opposed to trying to always do all of them yourself. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's not feasible to do it all yourself.
Sometimes it is. Kudos, but sometimes it's not.
Well, and that goes into part of the next question. I know we've talked some about it too, but local networking is massively important for a successful marketing strategy, as well as just being a part of your community. And I know you talked about joining the Chamber of Commerce. What are some other potential business groups that people should consider looking into, whether maybe Rotary clubs, some other stuff like that they may have not thought about but could be advantageous to their trades business?
Well, it's going to depend on where they are, right, and what exists in their areas. But I do believe that Rotary Club is great. I believe trade is great. I believe networking groups are great. I'm a member of a few of them myself. There's mid-market professionals, there's provisors, there's NLT. There's some networking groups everywhere, but you have to find the groups that are like-minded and that are committed to helping to refer you. Oh, I'm sorry, that yawn took me by surprise. Who are committed to helping you to find the right customers. So make sure it's not just a sit on your laurels type of networking group. Make sure they are actually active in the community and committed to supporting one another.
Well, and talking about being active in your community, I know you also do a lot of volunteer work. You enjoy working with your church. How has has your personal focus on philanthropy and giving back shaped your approach to how you do business and how you teach people to use marketing to their best ability?
Oh, it's hugely important. I believe in servant leadership and always giving back. And so we love to participate in food drives, in Toys for Tots. Everyone in my company understands that we are servant leaders first and foremost, and that we are a kingdom-based business. And so those things are a part of everything that we put out on our own behalf when we're talking about our own branding.
What's one last piece of advice you would give trade business owners that right now are feeling overwhelmed with marketing?
Don't give up. Breathe. Take one step at a time. Think about where you're getting the very most bang for your buck, and then make all of the decisions about trimming your marketing carefully. And don't make too many changes at once.
That's a good one right there. The don't make so many changes at once, because I've seen that cripple people real quick.
Yeah.
Well, Amber, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for speaking with me and with the Trade Crew. Where can listeners connect with you on social media and follow your story?
Yeah, please connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. My company's website is farbeyondmarketing.com, and we would love to catch you online. Check us out anytime.
So everybody, if you're not following Amber, go find her, go check out her website. If you're not following HVAC R&D online, please go find me on Instagram and TikTok at hvac.rnd, on LinkedIn, Trade Hounds, and Facebook as the HVAC R&D podcast. Thank you for listening to the show on your favorite platform, whatever it may be. Please follow, like, and rate the show. Leave me a review. If you don't like the show, leave me a review and tell me why. That way we can fix it, and I'll bring you back. Don't forget to go check out hvacrnd.com and visit the swag shop. If you want to work with me, you know how to do that. So, Trade Crew, have a great week, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.